words of Sri Aurobindo from the book The Mother, from the collective works of Sri Aurobindo, volume 32, page 331, topic, being taken up by the mother. Question, when does the divine take up the sadhaks fully? For this Sri Aurobindo says, when they give up the ego. Question, what is the meaning of the divine takes up a sadhak? For the Sri Aurobindo says, when it is the divine force that works out all the yoga and the actions by a direct action of which the sadhak is conscious. Question, when a person begins to do yoga and comes to live under the shade of the mother, is he not taken up fully by her? For the Sri Aurobindo says, not until he is ready. He has first to accept her and then to give up more and more his ego. These are the sadhaks who at every step revolt, oppose the mother, contradict her will, criticize her decisions. How can she take them up fully in such conditions? Next question, what is the sign that one is taken up by the divine? Sri Aurobindo says, one can feel it. 21st June 1933. My dear mother, I have heard a good deal about your divine power and supernatural knowledge from X. As myself am a humble servant of the goddess, I would request you to instruct me in the development of supernatural forces in order to attain the ultimate end, darshan of the goddess. This is the next question. For this, Sri Aurobindo says, in fact, this is written by Sri Aurobindo to his secretary who has replied to this enquiry of this question. Sri Aurobindo says, reply that the mother is not able to write letters herself and you are writing on her behalf. What is given by the mother is not a development of supernatural force, but if someone is accepted to take up this path of yoga, he is led towards a deeper and higher consciousness in which he can attain union with the Divine Mother. This, however, is a path long and full of difficulties. Sri Aurobindo and the Mother do not admit anyone to it unless they are sure of his call and his capacity to follow it, and the person himself is sure of his will to follow it until the goal is reached. 6th March 1937. Next subtopic, broad lines of the sadhana. Sri Aurobindo says, the basis of life here is wholly spiritual. An inner discipline is given, but it is on broad lines, allowing each individual the necessary freedom for his nature and temperament to grow and change spontaneously. Broadly, the sadhana consists of a progressive surrender of oneself inward and based upon it the outward also, to the Guru, to the Divine. Meditation, concentration, work, service, all these are means of a self-gathering in all one's moments with the sole aim of delivering oneself into the hands of a higher power for being worked on and led towards the goal. The mother guides, helps each according to his nature and need, and where necessary, herself intervenes with her power, enabling the sadhak to withstand the rigors and demands of the path. She has placed herself with all the love, peace, knowledge, and consciousness that she is at the disposal of every aspiring soul that looks for help. Question, all in me is proceeding towards a mother's love, devotion and purity. Why then am I not going up in my consciousness and getting higher experiences? For this Sri Aurobindo says, the power of experience is not gone. But what is most important now is to develop the psychic condition of surrender, devotion, love, cheerful confidence in the mother, and an unshaken faith and a constant inner closeness, and also to bring down from above the peace, wideness, purity, etc. of the higher self, which is that of the mother's consciousness. It is these things that are the basis of the Siddhi in this yoga. Other experiences are only a help, not the basis. 17 Jan 1934. Next subtopic: the mother and other parts of yoga. Sri Aurobindo says, the idea of your friend that it is necessary to receive a mantra from here and for that he must come is altogether wrong. There is no mantra given in this yoga. It is the opening of the consciousness to the mother from within that is the true initiation, and that can come only by aspiration and rejection of restlessness in the mind and vital. Sri Aurobindo says, to come here is not the way to get out or get it. Many come and get nothing, or get their difficulties raised, or even fall away from the yoga. It is no use coming before one is ready, and he does not seem to be ready. Strong desire is not a proof of readiness. When he is inwardly ready, then there will be no difficulty about his coming. Question: before coming here, I was attracted to the path of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and sometimes it attracts me still. Occasionally, I wonder if I'll be able to follow this yoga through all its vicissitudes. I would like the mother to tell me what I should do. For the Sri Aurobindo says, the mother cannot decide for you. She can only offer to you the truth. She has come here to bring to the world, and if you accept it, guide you towards it. Sri Aurobindo says the mother cannot decide for you. She can only offer to you the truth she has come here to bring to the world, and if you accept it, guide you towards it. 9 September 1933. Question: someone told me that Ramana Maharshi lives on the overmental plane, or that his realization is on the same level as Shankara's. How is it that then he is not aware of the arrival of the divine, while others, for instance, ex-guru, had this awareness? For this, Sri Aurobindo says, I cannot say on what plane the Maharshi is, but his method is that of Advaita, knowledge and moksha. So there is no necessity for him to recognize the arrival of the divine. Ex-guru was a bhakta of the Divine Mother and believed in the dynamic side of existence. So it was quite natural for him to have the revelation of the coming of the Mother. 23rd Jan 1936. Question: after reading a chapter in the Synthesis of Yoga, I wrote to you the other day about strong mental realization of cosmic oneness. Now I find that state has disappeared. Was there anything wrong in writing about it? Is it that the mother does not like this sort of yoga of knowledge? Or is it that one should always write about the darker side and never mention about the other side? For this, Sri Aurobindo says, why should mother dislike yoga of knowledge? The realization of self and of the cosmic being, without which the realization of the self is incomplete, are the essential steps in our yoga. Let me repeat, the realization of the self and of the cosmic being, without which the realization of the self is incomplete, are the essential steps in our yoga. It is the end of other yogas, but it is, as it were, the beginning of ours, that is to say, the point where its own characteristic realization can commence. Sri Aurobindo says, the disappearance of a realization when it is spoken of is an experience some people have, but it is not likely to be the case with you. To write only of the dark side would be to overemphasize it and not to give a chance to the other. It is probable that the realization comes only as a first touch. It comes often like that and afterwards repeats itself until the consciousness is able to hold it as its normal state. Date 26th March 1936. Sri Aurobindo says on the next topic, turning entirely to the mother. Sri Aurobindo says all things are the divine because the divine is there, but hidden, not manifest. When the mind goes out to things, it is not with the sense of the divine in them, but for the appearances only which conceal the divine. It is necessary, therefore, for you as a sadhak to turn entirely to the mother in whom the divine is manifest and not run after the appearances, the desire of which or the interest in which prevents you from meeting the divine. Once the being is consecrated, then it can see the divine everywhere, and then it can include all things in the one consciousness without a separate interest or desire. These are the words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo.
Tad